Hey, everybody. Well, welcome to the Daily AI Show. Today is July 18th, 2025, and we are recording this at 10 a.m. Eastern. Andy is in Pacific, so 7 a.m. for Andy. Andy's doing his great Pepper's Ghost imitation, so later in the show, you'll see he has the rest of his body. He's not just a head, but we're having a great time. Today, what we are doing is one of my favorite shows and a favorite show from our audience as well. So if you like it, please let us know. We are doing what we call our Be About It show, but essentially it's AI tools that we're using for real use cases. We're showing you all of that. Sometimes we're grabbing things from other people that we've seen, really great tutorials. And these are things that actually work, that get real results for real people, because we're real people. All right, Andy, let's have you share your first one. Sorry, I'm Beth. This is Andy. I have Andy in studio. We expect other people, hosts, to come and join. Probably Brian and Karl, but we will see who shows up. So go ahead and take it away, Andy.
Great. Let me share my screen. It'll take just a second. I'm going to take this whole window here. All right. We're starting out looking at the application I built in Lovable. You see down here in the bottom right, edit with Lovable. This is the published URL of this course in prompting AI assistance. And you can see there's this first lesson, and there are a total of 50 lessons in this course. It looks like I've completed the first 2 lessons as a tester. Let's look at what a lesson looks like. This is the introduction to the course lesson, communicating effectively with AI assistants. You see there's a large infographic there to kind of give you the context. And each lesson is just a very short one-page lesson. That's it right there. But you're challenged to respond using some of these prompt examples by entering them into this tutor chat window over here on the right, you see. So I can communicate with the tutor, and the tutor can respond. So let's just, for fun, because we got plenty of time, I'm just going to copy one of these sample prompts. I'm going to put it into the tutor chat and see what the tutor chat does. All right, so tutor takes a few moments to compose its response, and while it's doing that, I'm going to give you a context for where I'm going with this quick demonstration. I'm going to focus on the infographic. The infographic is this image up here you see, and this was added through an administrative process later, after generating the text of the lesson. So in order to get the full context of the lesson and generate an infographic, I don't use Lovable to do that. I use ChatGPT 4.0, which is really good at using or taking information and generating an infographic and being solid with its presentation of text. So this text up here is well spelled and doesn't include a lot of extra things. And I don't know why, maybe it's just not warmed up, but the AI tutor's just stalled in thinking. But since we're not talking about that right now, I'm going to bypass it. Yeah, so error invoking the tutor chat function. I'll have to fix that. Um,
Live demos.
yeah, there you go. So now what I want to show you is how I generate those infographics. And this is a project in ChatGPT. And I'm using ChatGPT 4.0 and a project. So in a project, you can give it a set of instructions, and you can also give it lots of documents. So I can give it samples of lesson text and samples of infographics that were done before. And the other important thing about a project is that when you use it, and I've been using this one for a long time, so you see my cursor is way down here on the right. There's a lot of stuff in here. It remembers and learns from the process. And so I'll just give you a quick view of this. I asked it to take the information that's in its instructions and generate an infographic based on the context of the lesson in a CSV file that I download from the Lovable tutor chat lesson form. And so I have all of that information, and now the project can refer to those lessons and all the context for those lessons, because the CSV file that I download actually has a cached markdown copy of the full lesson in it. So it takes its first shot at this one and says, using input variables and prompts, which is what one of the lessons is called. And I say to it, this is too complex. Provide a simpler one that focuses on this idea, just the idea that reusable prompts can include variables that allow the user to steer the response, content, format, length, and voice, etc. So it takes a shot at that. And I said, better, can you add the word configure in the title as follows? Use variables to configure responses. And in the chat bubble, now generate the text about. And so then it did this. But it doubled up this idea of length. And I said, good, but it repeats length. And so it came back with this one. Use variables to configure responses, content, tone, length, format, and the topic. So I said, okay, well, that's good enough. And then I moved on to the next one. And the next one was just simpler, and it nailed it in the first time. So that's my first one. And I'm going to bounce back to Beth now and let her share something that she's done. And then I have some more using GenSpark, which is an agent.
Okay. That was by request. Andy has found some really great work workflows that help him generate those kinds of images, and I love those kinds of images. So thank you, Andy. I will be going back and looking at it again, but I'm gonna yeah, weave off that a little bit and bring up here we go. I'm gonna bring up that. And okay. So what Andy is actually using in ChatGPT to generate images is the same model that we have access to with Sora. Now, I don't use Sora for video very often, but I absolutely use it for image generation. And if I want to take this, so this was our robot animal a while ago. Um, because I don't know if anybody's noticed, but we're doing letters now. We just had elephant, we had dolphin before. This started our letters with bull. So I am going to edit this prompt, and I am just going to say that I want, let's see, let's go with Andy. Give me an animal. You're going to say horse, aren't you? Aardvark. Okay. I feel like we did aardvark, but let's do
Really? I just went with A. Let's try something else. Okay. Water buffalo.
water buffalo. Okay. And uh these words that come out for the headline, I'm gonna say those get auto-generated in another process, but I'm gonna say that this is, um, AI news buffs rejoice. Okay. And now I'm just gonna have that generate. And so if we can see up here in my right-hand corner, you can see it generating. This you can get here from generating something within ChatGPT.
Beth, I'm not seeing your screen.
You're not seeing my screen?
I see it in
Sorry.
the queue. The share is in the queue.
There we go. Okay. We are not seeing. Yes, you are supposed to be seeing my screen. Sorry. Here we go. Okay, so this is the AI news bull for that time. What I did was I went through and I edited the prompt, and in the prompt edit, um I chose buffalo, right? Andy said water buffalo, and that is in fact generating. Um, One of the reasons that I really like Sora, this isn't Sora, this I think is Imagen 4, Imagen 1. I don't even know what the model is that's called. I don't even know what the model's name is, but I do know that what is interesting for me in generating with this model, OpenAI's image generation models, it's really pretty good on words. Like, it can do, headlines in a way that really works. So, let's see if I go to where it just generated. I know it said it did it. Alright, so I'm gonna pause this for a second. No, I'm just gonna hide it on stream for a second so I can go back to the stuff. Alright. This is AI news buffs rejoice. Alright, so having joked about how great, the text is, it spells rejoice wrong. But that is something that we can play with. We can see that the overall style of this is pretty similar to the original robot. One of the reasons that I use this and just an edit prompt is that I can keep those kinds of styles set without having to describe it, right? If you can give AI an example of what you want versus using your words or even AI's words as an example of what you want, you're in a much better situation because AI will infer all kinds of things about it that that you would not have come up with in your own language. All right. So the next thing that I'm gonna do with this is oh good, Gwen. I chose I chose to go to um yeah, I chose to go to Sora from ChatGPT. So, if I'm just in here and I can go up here, I'm just going to Sora right there, and that's gonna come in the main Sora place, and then you can go to My Media, Uploads, you can do whatever you want from there. And you can just generate an image from here. Don't sleep on this. Like, there are specific scenarios where this is absolutely, I think, the best option. Okay, so we're gonna do something else with this image, but I'm gonna pass it to Andy, and, yeah, Andy, go ahead. And Andy, you're muted for me.
Okay, I'm back. And I'm going to be sharing my screen with GenSpark. You should be able to see that now. And I guess I have to click on show on screen. No? There we go. Okay. So this is GenSpark. And you can see here that what I did is we bought a 2019 Volvo. And I bought it from a dealer in Ohio. And they said they were going to pay the sales tax. That's the way it works. And then they remit the sales tax to the state of California. And so I have documentation of that and the amount of sales tax that they sent, presumably to here total state tax. I just gave it two images of that sort of invoice process. And then I registered it in California and they charged me additional. And I was like, what's going on here? So I said, I'm gonna let GenSpark figure this one out. This is too much for me to spend my days on. And so I explained that same situation. And it does here, you see it's using tools here. It's looking at the images, it's doing a search, it's then using a browser to read the page. It's then doing another search and it reads another page. And so then it says, based on my analysis, you've indeed experienced double taxation. And it breaks it down. How to get your refund. Here's all the forms I need. And by the way, that this part of it probably took a total 20, 30 seconds. And this is the kind of full guidance that I get uh, from GenSpark when I ask it to do something. And then this conversation proceeds because the dealer that I communicated with the dealer and said, "Hey, what's the story?" And they provided some further information. And then I gave that back to GenSpark, and it says the dealer's response does change my analysis. After searching Ohio tax law, I found that she's actually correct. Okay, it confirms the dealer's claims. Uh, the real problem was a California DMV error, and you need to contact the DMV, gather your documentation, and file for a refund. And so it revises its conclusion. And then I kept going. I forget what I asked in this series, but that I explained that there were some differences here, and so I gave it some additional detail information. And so it says, "Oh, I now see the full picture. There are several important discrepancies. There's a purchase price, small discrepancy. What actually happened was Ohio collected 7.05 rate, like Ohio's rate, not California's. And then California charged an additional use tax, and the total amount paid was X. The shocking discovery is you actually paid approximately the correct total amount you would have had to pay to California." And so it goes through all of this, and finally, I just show you that its final revised conclusion is you've not been double taxed. Instead, the Ohio dealer collected non-resident tax at Ohio's rate, which was an error, and California charged use tax to partially compensate, but you actually underpaid by $184. So I give you this example because with only about a total of 15 or 20 minutes, I walk away completely satisfied, even though at the initial, uh, you know, conclusion that GenSpark gave me, I was a little worried that I'd actually have to go through a big, big process to correct it.
Absolutely. Thanks. Okay, so I now we're gonna come back. This is like Beth and Handy
While we do
cooking
that,
in
let me
two
just quickly
kitchens.
answer Jennifer. Jennifer, I could do this in ChatGPT today because of the agent mode, but I couldn't do it yesterday, right? So I use GenSpark because GenSpark does pretty much what agent mode is doing in ChatGPT. Uh, but yes, you're right. ChatGPT with successive and iterative prompting could do that, but until today, it didn't have that ability to go out and, read pages and potentially act on them. So, by the way, I'm sad to tell you that I still haven't received agent mode. And I'm curious to know whether in a project like I was demonstrating before, I can actually invoke midstream agent mode to have it do something externally like, "Hey, go out to this website and find some images there and bring those images back in, and then use those as a seed to the generation of a new image in your image generation capability," which is already built into agent mode and doesn't require that you use 4.0. Oh yeah, agent mode does require you use 4.0 in order to use that. Anyway, so I hope that
Yep.
answers your question.
And Jennifer, also, you are watching on LinkedIn, and we're having some conversation in the YouTube chat. If you want to have conversations with everybody else in the YouTube chat, you have to come over to YouTube. But it's a great question. Thanks so much. And um, uh, what GenSpark that we talk about this periodically, right? So OpenAI has a lot going on, and their agent mode is very cool, right? Very, very interesting, and it could do some things. We were testing it with Karl last night because Karl's our pro subscriber, so he gets stuff before the rest of us. But the other thing is that GenSpark has been doing this particular task longer, and, there are times where GenSpark is preferred simply because that is the only thing that they're trying to do. They're only trying to be agentic, right? OpenAI is trying to do everything AI. Alright, here we go. Yeah, I just checked. I don't have the agent mode yet either, but I will share and show that, this is where you'd see it. So, when Karl was using agent mode, he just went to this tools menu and he has agent and I think connectors because that's something else that can happen with Pro that is not the same with Plus. Okay, so I just want to show that the all I did here was I asked it to fix the headline. All I did was I selected this area and, I just wrote "rejoice" all in caps, and that's what it did, so it only chose that. It also went, a little wild, but I only need one of these to work, so that's fine. Alright, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to download this bowl. No, this water buffalo. Ooh, that's right. There we go. Gwen, the other way that Gwen says that she can never get anything to fix words. The other way that I do this sometimes is I will just go into Canva and grab text, and we'll go into Canva in a bit, and I'll show you how that happens. But for this, because it is on an angle, I'm asking Sora ChatGPT to do it because it's better at this context. All right. So then the next thing that I would do with this is I would actually go nope, that's not where we wanna be. That's where we wanna be. This is another thing that I think people sleep on, and I don't want people to sleep on it. So, what we're looking now is at MidJourney's edit feature. It's weird if you use other editors to do a bunch of things, but if you want to use a relatively seamless, it gets it right probably 50% of the time. But if you wanna use something that is designed to recognize a real style with AI and generate something, this is possible to do. So, I have downloaded my image from Sora, and now I'm uploading it here. All right. AI news buffs rejoice. This is now what I'm going to do is I am just going to say I would like you to be a 16.9. And the other thing that you have to do here to make sure that you are clearing your edges and getting something to generate at the edge is you need to go and erase the section that is attached to what is going to be edited. And for me, again, this is not this is so against what um, AI image generation normally wants to do. All I want is room for me to put text, right? Like I don't want you to add anything else. So my prompt for this is continuation uh, of seamless tan background. And we'll see whether that is gonna work. But the other thing that is important here is I have no stylization, no weirdness, no variety, don't do anything, else. And I often have this on draft, but let's just do this way. And I'm gonna submit this edit, and it is gonna give me, 4 options. Let's say hi to Karl while we're doing that. Oh, no. Alright. Well, that's coming up. This is faster than I thought. And this is actually really fast. So, that's more than I really wanted, but that's alright. That's okay. I probably would use that one. And that's alright too. So any of these are fine for me to then pull this into Canva and, um, add our words that would go on a YouTube thumbnail. Alright, so again so we have this, it gave us a funky column, alright. I don't even know what that is, but it's just trying to generate stuff, but it's understanding that all I wanted was to generate in the back, and this gave me a corner of a room. Either of those are fine, so I will probably use this one with the corner. I can go down at the bottom and download image. The reason that I can do that even though this is just a draft, is because these images don't get printed anywhere, and this is fine for, a thumbnail that's going to show up on somebody's computer screen or TV in terms of looking at this image. The fingers on this water buffalo. Yeah. Okay. Um, Gwen, great question. You can't do this in Canva? You can actually do it in Canva, but you can't do it well in Canva. So this was the very first prompt that I did, right? So it took me, I don't know, 7 seconds, 10 seconds to do this. You can extend an image in Canva and the quality immediately goes down. I don't know what they've done. I think they bought Leonardo, right? I feel like they should be better at this kind of function, but MidJourney is really good at what MidJourney wants to be good at, and they are the best that I've found at this. I think I can do this in Adobe as well, but Adobe is gonna punish me like, it's gonna haze me before I get to the place where I can make that happen with their variety of, menus and places where things are hidden, and this right here is all, it's all right there for me, right? So I can, increase that, so I'm on move resize. I can increase what, the shape of it is that I want, those sorts of things. I can go to paint, which is also erase, and I can change my brush size and do this. It took a little while to figure it out, and honestly, the biggest thing to figure out is how to get it to curtail its desire to give you more than you want. And there are times where I just write continuation and nothing else. So that's that. I'm gonna go hide that on stream. Hey, Karl. And Brian, awesome. All right. And we have a lot more to show you guys. I will show you the last part of this towards the end of the show because we have a lot of people who want to show stuff. Andy, do you have something teed up?
I do. I do. I
Okay.
can go again here. Just a
And then we'll
moment.
go Brian and Karl.
Okay. So I'm going to proceed with GenSpark, and I'm going to show you another use of GenSpark similar to the other one, but I'm going to also then show you the Skywork UI and why I don't prefer Skywork over GenSpark. So anyway, this is a continuation of the Volvo saga. So there was a performance problem that surfaced, which was when my daughter was driving it, it started lurching when it was trying to leave a stop. And so I gave it a description of that information up here, and it's going to conduct an exhaustive investigation of this specific lurching, stuttering issue with your XC90. And you can see it does a new kind of tool that I hadn't seen before called parallel search. And then it reads some of the things that came back from that parallel search. And based on exhaustive research, I've uncovered a problem, a complex hybrid system coordination failure that standard diagnostics often miss. Okay, it explains this. It gives me specific technical details. It's found similar complaints, and very few, but similar complaints in the Swede Speed forum. And here's the immediate action plan, what to tell Volvo Monterey. And then here's the key technical points. Please do not drive this until resolved. The power handoff failures are, a problem. Okay. And then I said, I I wanna have you research information relevant to responsible disclosures and possible liabilities of the internet dealer that we purchased the car from. That dealer is Cars. So it does this, again, very complex examination of the dealer, of the laws in Ohio, consumer protection issues there, and here it gives me back some information about the profile on Cars, and here's the legal grounds for my recourse. Um, and so it turns out that the problem was that created this hybrid system coordination failure. The problem had to do with a large leak in the exhaust manifold turbo that created higher temperatures in the engine compartment and blah, 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 a chain of reactions that cause this safety issue. And in this particular case, on this vehicle, because the turbo is included with the manifold exhaust assembly, it's a $9,200 repair, which is 50% of the purchase price. And so the dealers are required to disclose known defects. And this defect, according to Monterey Vol, though, was immediately audible as soon as they started the engine. So it should have been detected. Now we go through a very long back and forth, me asking GenSpark for additional uh, sort of detailed descriptions of what steps I need to take. And then it creates a sample demand letter for the step one, which is to communicate directly with the Alcar's dealer and demand that they, provide some redress for this problem. And it eventually comes down to the very bottom here, and you can see that it actually drafted the certified mail that I ended up sending to them. And here's just the tail end of it. Conclusion of that letter. Here's, copies to the Ohio Attorney General Consumer. I would, imagine how many hours it would take me to process that complaint. I would be saddled with that for a full day or maybe multiple days to try to do that. But literally in the same day that I presented this to GenSpark, I then had a printed letter. I was able to then take it down to the post office and deliver it by certified mail.
Awesome, Andy. And that is actually what this show is about. Real cases where we are saving ourselves enormous amounts of time. All right. I don't remember who I said next. Brian? Karl?
I could do one. I want to show a little bit about in Perplexity, and I want to talk specifically about spaces in Perplexity. And I want to just maybe open up people's eyes to some other things that they can do in there, even if they don't feel confident in prompting. Because I know not everybody in our audience is like feels like they're super prompt engineers, but you know what? It's okay. You don't have to be because you can get Perplexity or other models to help you write prompts. So we're just going to go through a quick exercise of what that might look like. It may not be a home run off the bat, but just to kind of show you how you might do this. So first up is going to be just our basic screen here. So nothing. All right. I am using a Perplexity Pro account for this, just to be clear on that. So I could do deep research on it. And let's just look at this prompt really quick. It might be a little tiny, but I'm just going to read to you what it says. And this is just an example. Obviously, you could do work ones, but I decided to use something a little bit more fun like travel. So my wife and I really, we definitely are the type of people who prioritize experiences over material things. So we're all about the travel. When we think we have enough dinero to make it happen, we're out the door if we can be. So I want to create a prompt. That the idea of this Perplexity prompt is to create a prompt, right? A little meta. I want to create a prompt that helps me always find the best flights from Tampa to International Airport. That's where I live. I want a prompt that asks the user what dates they want to travel, where they want to go, and if they have specific preferences, such as the ability to carry a bag, put it overhead, or check it. I want some other similar questions to help do the best research. This prompt in the space will work anytime the user says, I'm ready. So I'm giving it a trigger word, the way we would with a custom GPT, but this actually works in spaces as well. I would call this a workaround. Because whereas in a gem in Gemini or a Copilot in Microsoft or a custom GPT and ChatGPT, those are sort of meant better for variables, but we can make it work inside of Perplexity Spaces. So that keyword will kick off the steps outlined in the prompt. The system prompt for the space needs to be in this markdown format. So I'm just giving it some basic outline. I could certainly do a better job here, but I think it's going to know well enough what it needs to do. And I'm going to say, go ahead and create this prompt for me. I'm not going to use deep research. It might be better if I did, but we're just going to use the basic sonar here. We're not going to change the model. We're going to let down here. I always love this about Perplexity is that Sonar is not the default model, which is what I think a lot of people think. It's actually choose the best model for each query, which we've talked about this. That's where I think everything is going, is that you won't really, if you're the casual user, you won't really change models. The it will be smart enough to know which one to use. We've heard, trappings of maybe GPT-5 or whatever that is, perhaps already doing that for you. And I think that'll be the use case going forward, all the way through like Grok super heavy or whatever it was, super heavy Grok or super Grok heavy. I think the third one's right on there. But regardless where it was running for in parallel, I think even that will eventually be a common thing with it. It may cost more tokens, but that's something you'll be able to do pretty easily. So just go ahead and run this really quick. It shouldn't take but a second. All right. And it did write it in Markdown, but something we'll notice right away is that because it wrote it in Markdown, Perplexity's answer swapped it back to a bold because it actually made this an H1 header. It's not the end of the world. We could ask this for a code block. We'll use what we got, but let's see what we have really quick and see if we can throw this in a space and create it. So you're a travel assistant specializing in finding best travel deals. You help users book flights. Here's some criteria. Always begin the process when the user says, I'm ready. Yep. When you want to do that. Ask about travel dates, inquire about baggage needs, so on and so on and so forth. Some examples. Can you find me the best deals? Here's the task. So it's got to say, like, when I say I'm ready, it's going to do like, where do you want to go? Are you flexible? All this stuff down here. And that's a lot at once. So we might alter this, if we were really working this prompt out, I'd be like, ooh, that's a user overload at the first. Like nobody wants to feel like I have to answer 9 questions just to get started. So in a better prompt, we might string this out a little bit and say, ask this, but then ask this and ask this, right? So here's our instructions here. So we're just going to literally take whatever it says with some minor changes here. And now we're over in a new space. We're going to go fly away from Tampa, please. And we need to go here. Now we can add files. We can add inks. Well, we don't have files or links. We could add a description here. Finding the best flights from TPA to the world, right? And so on and so forth. So now we don't have files. I could if I had links and things I thought would be helpful. But in this case, we just want to actually add instructions, and we're going to go ahead and paste our instructions in there. And then the only thing I'm going to do is go back in and add those hashtags so that this prompt is correctly formatted. If I was really being good about it, I would actually go back in and do dashes, but for the sake of time, we're just going to let it run like this and see if it works. Instructions. But normally I would clean this up a little bit. And I'm going to say here, when the user says I'm ready, initiate the flight search by prompting with the set of classes below. Okay, so I wanted to double check. Now, like I said, that's probably going to be a little bit of an overload, but that's okay. We're just going to let this run, and we've got to include search by default. We don't have to do anything else. We hit save. Okay, our space is created. Super easy. And now, as you would imagine, if I say, what was it? I'm ready. Was it I'm ready? I'm ready to fly. What did I say? What was the keyword?
Sorry.
I'm ready. Okay. I'm ready. Just checking the audience there. So if I say I'm ready here, it should look at that prompt. Okay. And then here we go. Great. Let's get started defining the best flights for you departing from Tampa. So it's kicking off this with that keyword, right? Now, I will tell you, I've used the word go before and it trips it up. So keywords are important because go, it started researching sometimes like 1 out of 10, it would research the game Go. Because like Perplexity is not really kind of built for this. We're kind of like, we're hacking the system a little bit here, but it's like a small hack. So here we go, right? And again, if I was a user, if I was building this for me or my wife or something, I probably would not build it like this because I'd be like, ooh, man, this is feeling like a lot of work already. Maybe I'll just use Google Flights. So I don't want to tax the user, whether it's me or somebody else or my daughter. So I would go back into that prompt and I'd make it pretty clear that like, let's start with a few things and have Perplexity narrow us down, which would actually be good for Perplexity anyway, because it would be doing a series of small searches in a row. So what I could do here is I could say, uh, let's just start with wanting to fly to I want to fly to uh Toronto in August, sometime uh between in August on a 3-day weekend. We'll give it something like that. Sometime between the 15th and 30 days has to do MidJourney, the 31st and the 31st. Okay. right? We'll see. I know I have to do that every time, which ones have it. So we're even going to kind of go back at it and just be like, I don't want to do everything, but I'm just going to answer some of these. And Perplexity is going to be fine with that, by the way. It doesn't
Yeah.
care.
By the way, Brian, could you build a form in Perplexity rather than have to think? Okay, I often do this kind of thing too, and I have to say one dot, and then I answer one, then two, and I have to go back and forth looking, and so it's better if it's done. Ask each question that you have, and await the answer, and then move on to the next question. You could change the prompt that way, but
Yep.
I wonder if we're at the point now where whether Perplexity or ChatGPT agent mode could do this kind of thing with a form and actually present a form.
Probably. And look, here's a limitation of doing this in Perplexity. Okay. Is that you get all the benefits of Perplexity doing what Perplexity does great, whether it's you want to search different sites and stuff like that. A limitation though is unlike ChatGPT, where it probably would not do the back and forth and wait for me, Perplexity wants to jump to the research. It's gonna want because that's how it's built. That's what it's done. So I think you're gonna find that you maybe be able to do a form on that, Andy. You might be able to treat it, but again, this is a good indicator where this is a different AI tool, right? And so we want to make sure that we're getting the best out of Perplexity. And you're right, maybe agent mode or something else in this particular use case would work better. So not to belabor the point, but like you can see here, now it is asking me to clarify the rest because I didn't answer the questions that it wants me to. But you guys get the idea. The whole point of this is to say like, hey, you can start here, which is just a very simple, not long. I wrote this while Andy was showing his demo, right? That's how long it took me to write this. Okay. So really easy to start. Ask it in an easy format. So you can go back and fix the prompt. I always, Beth and I used to teach on this. I still use this method. It's the easiest. There's others out there. And have Perplexity write that first prompt for you. You do not have to start a space from a blank blinking cursor. You can jump that gap a little bit here. And this is just one easy way to do it. So really loving spaces. There's a lot of thousand other reasons. I mean, obviously in the sales side of things, we use it all the time for deep research and all different ways. But think of spaces, just the last thing I'll say is think of spaces almost like a notebook LM. You can create a space and have it only you even saw in there where I could take off web search. So you could just like Notebook LM, everybody is like in a further of it, like beyond the podcast part of it. People are like, yeah, but it'll search my own documents. I'm like, so will Perplexity Space. Not to say one is better than the other. One is free right now, so I get it. But if that's what you want to do and you're already playing in Perplexity, then you can create a space, put all sorts of lovely documents in there and different links. You could put up to 10 links, but you could put a lot more document in there. Have it only look at that information and you could ask questions all the time. Notebook LM is going to give you mind maps, it's going to give you other things, but you can really start as a good jump off here. The other thing I'll say too is you could quickly turn that into a lab or a page or other things that are in Perplexity from that initial space research, which really, really, to me, gives it like sort of it's a competitive advantage in some areas, and in some areas it's not. So that's the first thing I want to show. And I have one other small one, Beth, about Opus Clip, but we can get to that whenever if we have time.
All right. Karl, you want to show us something? And you are muted. Actually muted in like I can unmute you. There you go.
Okay. Okay. I have way too many screens open, so I was trying to find where exactly everything was. I guess the one thing that I wanted to, showcase today was the work I was doing in the new agent mode yesterday because I wanted to analyze something. So a little bit different. So the thing that I wanted to showcase was more that is correct, that one. It has nothing to do with web browsing. It has everything to do with the way it connects to I would say I put it into Google Drive. So this is a real life work case for one client. So for example, in the Google Drive that I wanted to um that I'm focusing on, Now we do this in Teams, but I just wanted to test it in Google Drive. I mean, we use SharePoint and OneDrive, but I wanted to test in Drive. So the test was, we have 1, 2, 3. So this company gets on a regular basis, like tons of invoices a month, invoice statements, because this company buys a lot of equipment from a lot of different suppliers. So essentially what they have to do every month is to marry the invoices on their main Google Sheet, Excel spreadsheet, which is, we're talking hundreds, if not thousands. And then somebody has to essentially go into every single state invoice statement from every single company and marry up, is invoice number 112678, is that in the statement? And the statements are usually PDFs, or sometimes people screen capture a PDF and email it to this company. So there's somebody who is their job, just part of their job, not their entire job, comparing. It is one of the most tedious tasks you could possibly do. And it's hours upon hours each week, like tons of hours each month. But if you don't catch these things, that's hundreds of thousands of dollars the companies could either overpay or paying late fees for said contractors, sent invoice, right? This happens a lot in so many different companies. And it's, if you think about it, it's the most mundane, yet the most, from a human versus computer, a complex system, because you have a PDF plus you have spreadsheets. So spreadsheets, PDF, human has to take a look. So essentially what we did was like, hey, let's test this out and let's essentially take all 4 of, I'm going to put 4 invoices because they usually do this one at a time. We just started working with them. On this particular project, we built a pretty comprehensive prompt 403 to do this. And we essentially, what we're doing is we load the, invoice register, which contains the thousands of invoices. And then we load the individual statement and then ask it to compare. So that obviously shaves off a lot of time, but I'm like, instead of doing it one by one, why don't we just do it all at once into a folder? And so it was, hey, let's use agent mode to test that out. Essentially, right, goes in, you can watch this entire thing, uses the connector, checks out the files, and then actively doing the active comparison against each other. So work for 21 minutes, which is against 4 of them. That would have taken manually probably 2 hours, maybe. But remember, I only did it like for one. I could have uploaded 4 in one folder, 5 in another. Like, there's so many combinations that you can do parallel work with this too. And so, yeah, so now we have comparisons for every single one of those invoices. And I only checked 2 of them and we're pretty good to go. So that's an example. This is the type of example that they should have showed on like the demo, instead of stupid like booking my travel and doing some stupid like web search. I'm like, no. Don't do the web search stuff, because yes, you will fail at some things. It'll be slow. You will see tons of examples where it took 36 minutes versus what should have taken 2 minutes. You'll see GenSpark and Manif be like, yeah, see, we could do this. I'm like, ditch those, do something like this, because this is an actual real business use case that saves hundreds of hours that like no one wants to do, but like you won't know until you actually do this kind of mundane stuff. And now you're like, oh, you have now saved this person hours upon hours of work where they can just do parallel of this. Think of those tasks, times that by however many tasks you do in businesses. That is the game changer, not I'm going to book my travel, because booking travel is to me, the dumbest use of an agent out there. Like, I hate when people use that as the demo. I'm like, don't do that. Do something like this. And when we come around again, I'll show you another example of like another business use case, this time on the web.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say to that, you can tell who Chat or OpenAI's target market is by the demos that they run
Yeah.
on their live things. They're not business. They're not. They're not. They're not business. It's different. Because like, yeah, I'm with you. I'm like, show me some business use cases. And they're like, how to buy a pair of shoes for a wedding. I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? You're going to take a process that's not that tax heavy for a person. That's
No.
actually pretty easy. If I just went to, I don't
Yes.
know,
Yes.
Amazon and searched by black shoes in my size, in my area, that could be here tomorrow. I mean, what are we replacing? I'm with you, Karl. Like, it's frustrating to see because I'm like, why are you showing me demos of things that just because AI can do it and take 30 minutes, it's something that I could do in 4 minutes on Amazon
Yes.
max,
Yeah.
and I can see pictures too. Shocking. Like, so yeah, I'm with you.
And that makes it so easy for so many people to be like, oh, this thing is stupid, it doesn't work. I'm like, no, it works. But like,
Yeah.
I'm more finding the more complex task it's better for. The simple task, you do not want to use this. Like, it's like using O3 Pro for like, hey, 2 plus 2. It's gonna think like 8 minutes until I give you 4.
Yeah.
But that's
You told it
you.
to.
You're right. So I'm like, why would you do the dumbest things with this thing where the high potential of failure? One thing too, and both Manus and GenSpark pointed this out, and I was like 100% agree. Do not show your dumb PowerPoint presentation capabilities, because while it's okay, it'll give you slides. Manus and GenSpark will blow that out of the water. Like, their slides, I would say GenSpark's the best out of all of them.
Try that. You keep
Well,
saying that,
oh,
so I
it
gotta
is. Their slides are better than anything I've ever seen, just the way
I
they
gotta try
present
that.
it. But that said, to have that ability is pretty good. Same thing with the spreadsheet. And for like the regular folks who don't know GenSpark or Manus, is like, oh, this right. You're right, Brian. Who are they targeting? Not like they're targeting like the regular person who it's like, oh, I pay for ChatGPT, but I don't know about all these models. I just can use the base one. Like, that is the target.
That is the purpose of ChatGPT. It's to every person, that's their target. And I'm not mad at them for that. Like, I get it. They're trying to make a general AI assistant, a general use AI assistant. I mean, that is kind of what AGI should be pushing towards, right? Is something that's helpful in all situations. But I think, as Nate Jones pointed out yesterday, like, hey, congrats. You're just running a whole bunch of tokens and doing all the work for OpenAI so they can figure out how to make this agent mode work. So go for it. Go use all those credits that they're giving you and stuff like that, because they need all that data feedback to figure out how they're going to like make this a thing that's going to work. I just made me laugh.
And one thing, because I read Gwen's comment here, and it's not to minimize the actual regular person. It's more to say, when you do this demo, don't do it like the regular person isn't gonna use the when you show something like that and it kind of works, but it kind of doesn't, it just adds to the point. It's like, I don't know if any of you saw Nate Jones' comment on this, where he was like, I don't think he has it yet, but he's like, it's not gonna work. I'm like, that's because you didn't show the right use case for it. Like, I could probably find a relatable something that everyday people would do, not like a business use case, that this is useful for, if you actually knew about it. But I think the comment that I was listening to a podcast, just a show about this, was like, it's as if the people working in these labs, which is true, don't really relate to everyday things that people do. Like, it's like the travel. I don't know if you caught this. One of the examples was, I'm gonna go to every single baseball game. I'm like, who's gonna go to every single base? Like, they play 100 and whatever game. That's not. That's not.
Prioritizing Hello Kitty night. That was my favorite part.
Yes. Or it's like, yeah, you're right. Like, I'm gonna do this for what? No one does that. It's like it's either you don't know that what people do on a regular basis,
I
or you
wonder.
like it's like, oh,
I do wonder what the tech bros are thinking in San Fran sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. I wonder.
Well, if you think about it, right, the people who are building this and demoing are extremely intelligent, super tight on time, and not necessarily super tight on money. Although, what you get paid to work at these places and buy a house like that in San Francisco, like, you may
yeah,
be a little tighter on money than I
Yeah,
think.
we have for
But
super smart people living in their van working at Google. I mean, we kind of know. So, yeah.
but like in that context, yes, probably they don't have time to find Hello Kitty in all of in all of the cities. I guess I don't know. Yeah. Okay, so we all each have something else that we said we wanted to share. We are at the 1 hour mark. I am happy to go over. Brian, do you want us to run the final video? Will that make it easier for you to edit? No.
No, 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 no.
Cool.
No, if you want to go over, that's fine. And by the way, the Opus Clip I have thing would take like it's like a 2-minute thing. So
Yeah.
that's a fast one.
Same. So, and I am gonna switch, and, I'll show the Canvas stuff and, in another time, but ooh, and Karl is bouncing. Cool. Got it.
Man, I was just gonna
Oh.
tell him that I found the flight to Calgary. I switched it for Toronto to Calgary. I was really excited to tell him that I will be arriving on the 22nd and leaving on the 24th using WestJet. I'll probably get in around 2:45 PM and leave on Sunday evening around 6. It's gonna cost me about $215 to get there. But now he's gone, and now I can't tell him that I'm coming to visit his house. So that's a bummer.
Yeah.
But I guess I'll have to find out on the replay.
He actually is really generous with his, guest room and all that kinda stuff. Okay, probably not for the entire audience, not as relevant for you. Here we go. We are going to share this is, another thing that I think everybody knows, but I'm not sure that people use this as much as as much as is possible. This is, part of my audio equipment. It is messy, and my knobs it was set up for something that is no longer, the way that I'm using it. So it was set up for me to share music online and live loop, which is something that I did, that kinda stuff.
Do you want to pull
And
this on
now I
screen?
need it to work. What?
Is this supposed to be on screen right now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Sorry. Go ahead, Beth.
There we go. Okay. So this is my audio equipment. I have a mixer. I have an XLR mic that goes into the channel one of the mixer. Then it comes into the audio interface. Then it goes into the computer. This again is set up for something that a use case that I'm no longer is my dominant use case. So I come to Google and I want to be able to ask questions about what's happening. So I give it that picture. That one's a little messier. I did, I did clean stuff up slightly for the show. Um, and I wanna be able to record my audio and my conversation with Perplexity voice mode in Audacity, and so we're gonna set this stuff up. And, it can go through and just give me all of the pieces. Now I'm saying, "Hey, this is what my sound settings are." It says, "Oh, right, Windows 11 changed that. You found the properties page." Now we have to go back to the old place where we could hook things up. I will tell you that I have spent hours trying to find YouTube videos that showed the proper connection between a mixer and an audio interface and a computer, and it was amazing that I could do this. Like, this for that kind of thing, if you are trying to set up peripherals to your hardware and get to a particular outcome, it is a game changer. So, that's the big thing that I wanted to show there. Cool. I will
That's
stop
great.
sharing that. Who's got something else? Yeah, like this, I cried like cried happy tears.
Well, that's kind of the
This
point. I mean,
is
not the crying. That's kind of the point, right? Of the idea that like AI has solved a real problem for you.
Mhm.
I, by the way, I had a not the same daughter, acne, teenage years, right? She's dealing with it like all of us did through those years and stuff. And we went to Publix. We went to the grocery store, and she's like, I got to try something different. And we were going to go see the dermatologist in a couple of weeks. We had like a 3-week window. ChatGPT this back and forth, right? ChatGPT tells us exactly what products to buy that were available at Publix, right? We pick them off the thing, and I'm like, well, give Sophia, my daughter, like a rundown of how to use these products. Okay, so then we did that, and we brought him home, and I was like, oh, here. I think of what I said is here's the image, kind of like you did, Beth. Like here's the image of the 4 products, the 4 bottles that we bought. Like put this in a routine for my daughter, right? So she could understand it. Then I text that away to her. Okay, 3 weeks later, we're at the dermatologist, and I was like, let me show you the picture of what we're doing. And I got to tell you, I know this dermatologist is very sweet. I love her, but I was expecting a little bit of a pushback. Like, I mean, we did buy these through ChatGPT. I didn't say that off of that, and she couldn't have been happier with the results of like what we bought. They were safe. They were organic. You know what? All the things. And she's like, all of that. Just it's working. Keep doing that. It's moving. And it's like, it solved a real world problem. It made my daughter feel so much better. It gave her actionable instructions to follow. That's really helpful for a teenager where it's like, what am I supposed to do instead of just pushing stuff and then like, I don't know, try this. It was like an actual regimen for morning and night. It made my life easier as a parent. It made her life easier as my teenager. And when we went to the actual specialist, they were like, yes, you got it. Keep doing that. We're going to do this one other tweak, but yeah, keep doing that. It's working. I can see the difference. So cool. This is so cool. So anyway, like small thing, not as cool as yours, Beth, but I love those like wins, you know?
Right. Well, we talk about Gemini's ability to help with code, right? Like you're writing code, you get screwed up, Gemini can go through and look at that. This is that, like, that's just because we're people who sometimes write code and need help with that. The ability to take your circumstance, understand it, and give answers is broad, right?
Mm.
Cool. Okay. Brian, you want to show us Opus clips?
Oh yeah, you want me to go? Gwen, by the way, said, Brian, I hope her friends aren't listening. I can guarantee it. They're not even up. It's 11 o'clock a.m. It's the summertime. None of them are up. Doesn't matter. And they don't care a lick about what I talk about with AI. I can tell you that too. My daughter doesn't care. So I know her friends don't. Let me share really quick. Opus Clip. Okay, really quick thing here, just because I want people to know this exists. So we've been trying hard here at the Daily AI Show to do better with putting out more shorts, TikToks. We create content. Content's not our issue. Having volume's not our issue. What the issue is that we are typically on a screen that's got a 4 or 5 or possibly 6 people on it. And up till a couple of months ago, I would say, we could not find a solution. Opus Clip was the best, but we could not find a solution that would rearrange our little squares correctly for a 16:9 or 9:16 upright format. And Jumi tried and he's like, Opus Clip is the best and blah, blah, blah. But we were just struggling. And what I just want to point out now is that when you give it you upload a file. So this is one of our previous shows. There's some rankings in there. We don't need to get to all that. This is what I want to get to is that now, and you can see sometimes it does it really good. Sometimes it's a little offset there in the corner, but it is now doing what we never were able to do before. We tried all the tools, and it's very, very cool that Opus Clip now is capable of taking 2 or 3 different squares, and the AI is now able to grab them and move them and rearrange them like little building blocks around the screen to make it better. And I won't go through and show different clips, but if you did watch the clip, or actually just go to YouTube or TikTok and watch the clips, but if you did, what you would see is that if I start talking and it's Beth and me, it'll put me and Beth upright. And then if Beth responds to me, it'll move her to the top. If Andy comes into the conversation, it'll like remove me and put Andy in the conversation. It is not perfect. But when I tell you this is a real world problem, talk about shedding a tear of something we just have not been able to solve for because we don't have the typical interview 2 camera setup, which makes it very easy. And it was very labor intensive to pull individual feeds, which we do have access to, but it just isn't something you feel like you could do over and over again. We just aren't that big of a team. It's just us, right? So this was like a sigh of relief. Even though it's not perfect, I was like, yes, this is a company that's solving problems that we actually have. And I don't know how useful that might be, but I'll give a good, nice shout out to Opus Clip to say, if you're looking for a tool that can take content and chop it up and create shorts for you or other types of clips, I would go give them a try because they're clearly moving in the right direction. So that's it. It's something we're using now every single day to put out our shorts, and they'll get better with time. But right now, it's just we're happy to have something that works.
Awesome. Thanks, Brian. Andy.
I'm just going to end with a comment. I would show, I kind of alluded to showing what Skywork looks like, but it's like what I can show is unimpressive compared to GenSpark. And sorry, I don't want to pile on there, but I will say the main distinction is in their UI. So what Brian's been saying is, hey, there are functions that have advanced that make it possible to do things now that didn't happen before. There are nice little features that get added, and OpenAI is really good at expanding their features and connectors and all of the functionality that are available within one single interface. And GenSpark has a beautiful UI. You heard Karl say does the very best slides. That's a combination of what the composition of the slide is, but also the presentation layer. And if you just look at the tabs that I have open with GenSpark and do side by side with Skywork or others, GenSpark is just better. And so UI really makes a difference, and it makes me able to understand what's being presented better. So features, functions, and UI in combination, that's what's going to make the winners in the world of AI and get
100%.
user adoption.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, something going to be slightly better with AI, right? But if the UI is smoother, and it's the way I feel about Perplexity. It's not that Perplexity necessarily does something that's inherently revolutionary against other models. It's how it's done. It's how it's laid out. That's what I love. That's what I've grown to love of it. But it's not because when somebody says, "Well, why Perplexity?" I'm like, it's because I like the layout. And if that's something that works for you, then that's a great reason to use that tool.
Absolutely. All right. So I am going to show you just a quick peek of our perhaps next level of the news thumbnails. So what I showed you before was a water buffalo, and we we did a continuation of the background. You can see that this was for the still shot, this was continuation of seamless background. Now, all I've done is say do some automatic motion. And now my elephants here are reading newspapers. So I picked this one, the one that just turns one page. This is another thing you can see. The MidJourney is not as good with text, so the original image did have the proper headline, like elephants. AI never forgets. As soon as we're animating it in MidJourney, some of those things start to. That this is liar elephants. Your gets is our thing where we're going with this, but then I can just extend it. And now I want him to shift his weight a little bit. So we take that. Now we want to extend that one. Now we have a bunch here. So all of them are opening the page the same way, but then they're all doing a little bit different stuff. And then if we come back up here, now we have our third piece where we get up. No, we don't get up. We turn the page, we do some stuff, then we get ready, and now we put it down. 3 of the elephants just ripped that newspaper right in half and, dropped it out of their hands. But then we come back to our opening video, and I didn't feel like this was ready to use at the time, but let's see if it could work here. Nope, you're not seeing it. Why are you not seeing it?
Different tab.
Different tab. Oh yes, share this tab instead. Here we go. All right, now we're in Canva. There we go. Now we're just doing our little elephant thing. And then we're gonna come back and we're gonna bring back our opening. So
Cool.
that is like the full process of taking from an initial idea with the style. So I did that in Sora. Then I brought it into MidJourney to expand the background because that's my preferred process. And then MidJourney animated there were three animations, three levels of animation. So the animation is 15 seconds long, and our opening is 17 seconds long. And so that is how that worked. And that was, um, yeah, that was just super fun. There's so many things that you can do. So
Nice
That
work.
is that is
Maybe
super.
next time a friendlier looking elephant. That one looked like it was going to get aggro on us.
maybe that's why I ripped the newspaper in half. Like, I am done with this.
Also, let's not. I know we don't have time to get it. We're not over. We're just running a longer show. But my point was, Beth, like what you're showing to me looks like the obvious next evolution of thumbnails. Like it's weird to me that thumbnails are static, but mostly on YouTube it'll start previewing the show. I wouldn't be surprised on YouTube before too long. It's like, do you want to show a static thumbnail or this predefined 15 first seconds or something like that?
Right.
And then you could choose because like when I go on the like YouTube and I watch it on Apple TV, which is the main way I consume YouTube, is more through a TV function, then like it previews it anyway, and the thumbnail's like not as important. So like it would be cool if you had an option as the creator to like do something like that might visually catch the eye, especially if it was doing something with the text or whatever. So anyway, what you're showing, I think, is like you're heading in the direction of where I suspect things are going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It's that time.
Hello. All right. Thank you to our littlest co-host here, and thanks everybody. So we do have a sci-fi AI show coming up at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. We are talking about AI and robotics in demining, in like uh landmine elimination. And what sci-fi tells us about robots cleaning up after war. So here we go. I hope to see you there. And next week we have all great shows for you. All right. Yeah, this is long. Go join our community and see if there's something there for you. It's dailyaishowcommunity.com. The conundrum comes out tomorrow. Go ahead and sign up for our newsletter at thedailyAIshow.com. And thanks, everybody.